The storm had already died down, but the sky still looked bruised, as if it remembered every strike of lightning from the night before. In the middle of that grey dawn, a man stood outside a rusted iron gate, clutching a faded backpack and a lunchbox patched with tape. His name was Elias Ward, a single father who had lost nearly everything except his 8-year-old daughter, Mia. The wind bit at his face as he stared at the sign on the gate. Hollow Creek Waste Facility, staff only. No one wanted this job. People said it was cursed, that workers rarely lasted more than a few weeks because of the conditions, the smells, the danger, and the isolation. But Elias didn't have the luxury of fear. Rent was 2 months overdue, Mia's school fees were pending, and he had no family left to fall back on. So he inhaled, squared his shoulders, and walked in, not knowing that this single step into the worst job in the city would become the turning point of his entire life. Asterisk, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that prove one moment can change everything. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Asterisk, Elias's first day felt like stepping into another world, a world of machinery groaning, like tired beasts and stacks of waste rising like grey mountains. A sour chemical smell clung to everything. His supervisor, a man named Grant who looked perpetually annoyed at life, barely acknowledged him, only handing him a gear bag and pointing toward a remote section of the yard where sorting and hazardous checks were done manually. Elias didn't complain. He didn't speak at all. He just did the work, hauling, checking, sorting, lifting. His hands blistered quickly, and the first day left his back screaming in pain. But every time he imagined Mia smile or remembered how frightened she looked, the day they were nearly evicted, strength returned to him. Asterisk, after work, he picked up Mia from the neighbor's apartment. She always greeted him with a paper drawing in hand, something she'd made while waiting. That day, she held up a picture of a tall man with a bright yellow vest lifting mountains with one hand. She said it was him, her hero. He didn't feel like a hero. He barely felt like a functioning man. But when she wrapped her small arms around him and leaned her cheek on his chest, something inside him told him to hold on, to keep going, even if his limbs shook from exhaustion. Asterisk, days turned into weeks, and Elias became known as the man who took the job no one wanted and did it without complaining. Yet the facility itself seemed like it was built to defeat people. Sometimes machinery malfunctioned. Sometimes toxic fumes leaked. Sometimes the isolation of working in that lonely back section gnawed at a person until they quit. Grant didn't care. Management didn't care. The city barely remembered the facility existed. It was supposed to be temporary, just until he found something safer. But every job application he sent out disappeared into silence. And every day his financial situation worsened. Asterisk, the worst moment came when he received a notice from MIA school saying she was being removed from an extracurricular art program due to unpaid fees. That program was the one thing she loved more than anything. That evening, when she asked if she would still get to show her artwork in the school exhibition, he felt something inside him crack. He smiled at her, told her he would work it out, then went into the bathroom, ran the tap to muffle the sound, and cried silently into his hands. He felt like a failure, a man stuck in a job society discarded, a father who couldn't give his daughter the childhood she deserved. Asterisk, the next morning, he worked harder than before, pushing himself like a machine. He stayed late, even when Grant told him it wasn't necessary. He needed the extra hours. He needed any chance to earn a little more. As winter approached, the facility grew even colder and more deserted. But something strange started happening. While sorting, Elias noticed objects most people would never look twice at: discarded toys, broken wooden frames, torn books, scrap metal pieces. Instead of dumping them in bulk, he quietly set aside pieces that seemed reusable. At first it was just habit, something to keep the monotony from weighing on him. But soon, without realizing it, he began to repair small things in the evenings after Mia went to sleep. One night, he restored a cracked wooden picture frame and placed Mia's drawing inside it. The next day, he fixed an old toy truck and surprised her with it. Her face lit up, brighter than anything in the world. She hugged the truck, then hugged him harder. Something awakened inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. Skill, purpose, creation. It felt like life, itself whispering, "You still have more inside you." Inspired, he gathered more pieces from the facility's waste streams. Bits of colorful plastic became small sculptures. Rusted metal strips became wind chimes that tinkled softly in the light morning breeze. These weren't just repairs anymore. They were art, raw, imperfect, but filled with emotion and soul. He began giving some pieces to neighbors or leaving them at Mia's school fair. People admired them, not knowing the artist was a man working in a forgotten corner of the city. One day, when he dropped off a wind chime at the school entrance, labeled anonymously Mia's art teacher, Ms. Rayner spotted him slipping away. She approached him gently and asked if he made the piece. Embarrassed, he admitted that he did. Instead of dismissing him, she asked if he'd like to participate in the school's winter art exhibition. He almost said no out of disbelief. He didn't think anyone would want to see the creations of a man covered in grime and waste every day. But she insisted, saying the world needed more art that told real stories. That night, Mia heard him sanding a wooden board, shaping something. She peeked through the door and watched her father work, her eyes shining with pride. He wasn't just struggling anymore. He was creating beauty out of discarded things, just as life had discarded him. As the exhibition day arrived, Elias displayed a collection of pieces he had made from waste sculptures shaped like wings, symbolizing rising above ruin. Frames crafted from broken bits, symbolizing mending what life had shattered. And a large centerpiece made of glass fragments that captured light in a way that made it dance across the room. People didn't just glance, they stopped, stared, took pictures, and whispered. Some even cried. But the biggest shock came when a well-dressed older man approached him, introduced himself as Leonard Grumman, the founder of a renowned art foundation, and asked where Elias had been hiding all this time. Elias nearly laughed at the idea of being hidden. He told the man he worked at Hollow Creek Waste Facility. The man's eyes widened. He said these artworks could become part of a special exhibition on reclamation. Art turning discarded materials into masterpieces, a theme that aligned perfectly with what Elias had unknowingly done. Word spread quickly. Within 2 weeks, Elias's humble pieces were displayed in a city gallery. People loved the story behind them: a single dad working the job no one wanted, transforming the broken into something beautiful. Suddenly, reporters wanted to interview him, galleries wanted to commission works, and schools wanted him to teach workshops. But the biggest moment came when he was offered a full-time position as an artist in residence for the Grumman Foundation, with a salary that felt like a dream. He hesitated only long enough to glance down at Mia, who was holding his hand tightly, her eyes glowing with hope. He accepted. Asterisk leaving the waste facility was surreal. Grant barely react, maybe shocked, maybe indifferent, but Elias didn't mind. He stood at the gate where it all began, remembering the pain, the cold, the hopelessness. And then he remembered everything that had blossomed from it. He whispered a quiet thank you to the place before walking away forever. Asterisk life changed quickly after that. Mia's school fees were paid in full. Their apartment was upgraded to a brighter, safer place where she could have her own small art corner. Elias worked on larger installations, each piece telling a fragment of his journey. Interviews labeled him the waste artist who rebuilt his life through broken things. But he always corrected them. He didn't rebuild alone. He rebuilt because he had someone worth rebuilding for. Asterisk months later, the Grumman Foundation held a grand opening for Elias's first solo exhibition. Hundreds of visitors attended. When he stepped onto the stage to speak, his voice trembled. He talked about struggle, about single parenthood, about nights he almost gave up, and how the lowest job in the city led him to the highest sense of purpose. People applauded, some wiping tears, but the only face he saw clearly was Mia's, glowing with awe. Asterisk, if this story touched your heart or reminded you that even broken paths can lead to beautiful destinations, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Stories. Your support keeps these life-changing stories alive. Asterisk, before the event ended, Elias added one more message from his heart, asking viewers who heard his story to comment something special. Asterisk, before you leave, drop a comment sharing one moment in your life when hope returned unexpectedly. Your words might inspire someone who needs it today. Asterisk, and that night, as he tucked Mia into bed, she whispered that she had always believed in him, even when he didn't believe in himself. Elias kissed her forehead, knowing that sometimes the job no one wants becomes the journey everyone needs to hear. He looked out the window at the quiet city, feeling a peace he hadn't felt in years. Life had taken so much from him, but had given him back something far greater: purpose, pride, and the chance to rise again, proving that even the most discarded things, people included, can shine when someone believes in their worth. Asterisk.